Howdy SEO Moz fans, welcome to another edition of Whiteboard Friday. Last week we had a little bit of a mix-up. So what happened is we used Livestream to film a live version of Whiteboard Friday. Lasted an hour long, was tons of fun, was super awesome. But unfortunately, due to an issue with Livestream, who we normally like, but just had this weird error that we eventually reproduced even though we tested it beforehand, didn't keep and capture the video content. And so here is Whiteboard Friday. Keyword targeting gets tough all over again. And just for those of you who are wondering and worried, in the future, live Whiteboard Fridays will always be followed up by a recording of that. So we might end up actually doing them Thursday night, so you can watch Thursday after work live and tweet at us, and then Friday morning, video will be right there. In fact, Thursday night, the video should be right there. So with that said, let's go talk about when keyword targeting gets tough. So one of the first issues I wanted to address is when we've got multiple keywords on a single page. And a lot of people worry. They sort of say, well, I know that I'm trying to target a bunch of different keywords. I don't know whether I should have an individual page for each one, or maybe I should have one page that targets a lot of them. How should I spread things out? What do I do with plurals? What do I do with synonyms or variations? And I think a really good rule of thumb here is to keep in mind a few things. Number one, the intent of the users. If what users are going to find on the page is useful to those people, and there's 3 or 4 or 5 keywords that all make sense, there's plural variations, there's synonyms, etc., and that content makes sense for those users, one page is usually a best practice. Number 2, you need to be worried about natural word usage. It's really weird to have something like keyword phrase 1, comma, keyword phrase 2, comma, keyword phrase 3. And those pages, you can see them getting fewer clicks in the search results. So even if you are ranking, you might not perform as well. People are less likely to link to them. For all sorts of reasons, they're just not as good for SEO from a white hat perspective. You know, if you're a churn and burn spammer, you probably don't watch Whiteboard Friday. And number 3, combining those things when it makes sense, right? So I really like combining words that go together and that make sense. Let me give you a good example here. I think that'll really illustrate the point. So I've chosen the keyword Batman, right? Maybe I've got a website about comic book characters, right? So I've got this keyword Batman. I know I want to go after Batman comics. I want to go after Batman graphic novels, Batman comic books, Batman versus Joker. Which of these things do you think I'd put together? And my sort of feeling is Batman is a global topic. It's sort of too big for anything else, and it's hyper competitive, so it'd be really tough to target other things on there. I might go with Batman as its own separate page, just one page on the site, all about the character and have links to the comics, that kind of stuff. Batman comics and Batman comic books, those are a natural fit, and you can do a really good job, right, of crafting a title tag and a headline that go together really well, right? So Batman comic books or Batman comics and comic books, those work really nicely together, and so I can go connect those. Batman graphic novels is a little different. I could do something like combine it if I felt like the intent was the same, right? So people who are coming searching for graphic novels are also looking for comics, or comic fans are also looking for graphic novels. I could do something like Batman comic books and graphic novels, or Batman comics, graphic novels, and comic books, right? And those 3 things work pretty well together, natural word order. So those things, I would probably combine those, because I think the intent is the same. Keyword targeting can be done pretty well and effectively all on the same page. Remember, too, that it's not just about the keyword targeting, it's about the links pointing to the page. If you got lots of links pointing to one page, you want to leverage the power and importance of that page on the link graph to be able to get it to rank for many things. So there's good reasons to try and combine stuff. And then finally, Batman versus Joker, that's its own thing. Right? That's probably its own comic book, own series. Maybe it's a movie from the 60s, I'm not sure. But Batman vs. Joker gets his own page. So in the second piece, internal and external linking, what we want to think about is, well, I'm worried about these issues of where I should link to different pages and how to do it. And actually, the web has given us a really good methodology to think about this, and it's sort of the breadcrumb methodology. And that follows a category-like structure that search engines love and that humans are very used to. So users are going to have a good time with it as well. So makes sense, right? We got our Batman page that I created. We've got our Batman comics and graphic novels page, and then our Batman versus Joker comic. And obviously we'd have lots of detail pages and subcategory pages potentially under these. But the way to think about this is in breadcrumb format. So on this Batman versus Joker comic page, I'd have a breadcrumb that looks like this. Batman, Batman comics, Batman versus Joker, right? And those links, Batman is going to point back to this topic. Batman comics and graphic novels, going to point to that one, right? And this one's going to link up, and this one's going to link down, and this one's going to link one level down. So you can see that that level structure creates a really nice, easy to follow thing for search engines. They know, aha, someone's looking for the broad Batman topic, that's my page. Someone's looking for Batman comics or Batman graphic novels, that's the guy. Someone's looking for Batman versus Joker comic, this is my guy. And you can see a lot of confusion sometimes. SEOs will comment like, geez, this page is ranking great for this keyword, but it's not the page I wanted to rank for. And this kind of structure can help with that. But there's also some cool advanced techniques and advanced strategies that we can talk about to solve particular issues. Some of these are pretty sweet. So the first one, the move it. So this is when you've got a situation where the page is targeting a particular keyword, right? So targeting Batman comic and graphic novels, and you either need to move it for one reason or another, or the search engine's ranking the wrong page. Maybe they're ranking a deep comic page for Batman comics and graphic novels. You go, this is terrible. You can see this on SEO Moz right now. If you search for SEO on the front page, it's our web developers SEO cheat sheet that's ranking. It switched about 3 months ago from our home page. That's sort of weird. It's a useful and fine page, but it's probably not the broad topic that people are looking for when they search SEO. So we might want to do some things around that. And one potential thing is to move that old page or to rel canonical it back to the page that you want ranking. Remember that rel canonical is really only designed for duplicate content situations. So you should only do this if the page that's ranking is a copy of the original and has the same content but just isn't the one you want. Newspapers have this a lot with print versions of pages, right? Where a print version will be ranking and they go, no, I don't want the print version. I want the one that shows the ads because they want to make some money. The next one is the replace it. And the idea is the old URL, the URL that's currently ranking, could use some refresher content maybe, or could use an update, or you're essentially saying like, oh, it's that URL that's ranking for this, but I really want this content on there. And so you can feel free to do that, right? Go ahead and swap out the content, put in the new content, and maybe recreate the old page at a new URL. Let me give you a good example of this one. So every year, or every couple of years for the past few, we've done our search ranking factors, right? Whenever we reproduce a new version, we make sure it stays at the old URL, you know, the seomoz.org/search ranking factors. That replacement, that new page, came up in 2007, 2009, 2011. A new one's coming again, right? And we're essentially just replacing that content, and the old one is going to live at another location. It's going to live at search ranking factors/2005, right? So by doing that, we make sure that all the links that we're pointing into this continue to point into this. It ranks where it used to, and it's earning new links to that same old URL. Great tactic here. Final one is the consolidation system. And this is really when you've got content that you are potentially moving onto the page, but you want to be able to directly point people to it. And yet you think search engines are really going to appreciate having all of that in one place. And this is a great time to use the internal or named anchors, right? The hashtag. So for example, if I say, oh, you know, today I have a Batman comic page, a Batman comic books page, a Batman comics page, and a Batman graphic novels page, those should really all be one. I might think about having different sections, right, that talk about the comics themselves, right, and the history of them, etc., current comic books that are available, graphic novels, and all of those on the same page. But if a user is interested in just the graphic novels, they can still link and drop to exactly this section on that page. All right, so hopefully, given these strategies and what we talked about today, your keyword targeting can dramatically improve. And you can have these best practices to go forward with. I'm looking forward to some comments about this, and I apologize again for the live version not going up. Hopefully this will help out. So take care, everyone. We'll see you again next week for another edition of Whiteboard Friday.